Hello everyone. In this video lecture, let us discuss about the topic full wave rectifier power supply under unit 5 of electronic circuits 1. So let us discuss what is a full wave rectifier. The full wave rectifier is nothing but a circuit which converts an AC voltage into pulsating DC voltage using both half cycles of the applied AC voltage. Here this diagram represents the full wave rectifier using center tap transformer. First thing that we have to understand is the name, why we call it as a center tap transformer. We have tapping, and this tapping in the center, for example, if you have 100 turns in the secondary, means 50 turns in this side and remaining 50 turns in this side. So here there are two diodes are presented in this circuit. So let us understand the working of this rectifier circuit. Whenever we apply the sine wave as the input circuit, then during the positive half cycle, diode D1 is conduct and D2 is reverse bias. So in that scenario, the current will flow like this. If we assume these diodes are as an ideal diode, so then this Vin voltage will appear across the load RL, or otherwise we can say that V0 is equal to Vin. So the same input voltage will also appear across the load RL. So similarly, for during the negative half cycle, so before that, this is the this diagram shows the equivalent circuit during the positive half cycle of the full wave rectifier. Next one, during the negative half cycle, diode D2 will conduct and D1 remains reverse bias. The current flow through the circuit in this fashion. So once again, we assume these diodes as an ideal diode, and this Vin voltage will also appear across the load resistor RL. So that is in the same direction. This circuit represents the equivalent circuit during negative half cycle of the full wave rectifier. So this diagram represents the waveform. First one is the input sine wave. Second one is the positive half cycle output. Third one is a negative half cycle output. Here now here during positive as well as negative half cycle, the current which is flow through the load RL is same direction. So for negative half cycle, also we will get positive waveform. Negative half cycle we will get the positive waveform. Now if you combine negative as well as positive half cycle, then the output of these rectifier will look like this. So in this way, if we apply the sine wave as the input of the rectifier circuit, then we will get this kind of output. So this kind is nothing but what is this kind? This is the pulsating DC, so which contains both AC as well as DC component. Next, we will move on to the derivation about average DC load current. So how it is find the average value of DC load current? So the average or DC value of alternating current is obtained by integration. Now finding out the average value of an alternating waveform, we have to determine the area under the curve over 0 to 2 pi and then divided by the base 2 pi. Mathematically, current waveform can be described as, so IL is equal to Im sin omega t for omega t value is in between 0 to pi. Whereas in the case of omega t value is pi to 2 pi, the IL value becomes minus Im sin omega t. Therefore, IDC is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to 2 pi IL d omega t. So split the limit and then put the IL value in terms of Im sin omega t, and then integrating this one and simplify this, find the value of IDC is nothing but 2 Im by pi, which is called as average value. So it is twice to that in the half-wave rectifier circuit. Next we will move on to the average DC load voltage. It is the product of average DC load current and the load resistor RL. Substitute the value IDC, that is in terms of 2Im by pi, and also Im, that is Im is nothing but ESM by RF plus RL plus RS. And again you consider this also. So RF and RS are small and compared to RL, so that in your EDC is equal to 2 ESM by pi. So similarly, this EDC is twice that in the half-wave rectifier circuit. Next we will move on to the RMS value or root mean square value of the load current. So what is the root mean square value? Means squaring, finding mean, and then finding square root. So hence the RMS value of load current can be obtained. Here is the root of 1 by 2 pi 0 to 2 pi IL square into d omega t. Here the two half-wave rectifiers are similar in operation. So this equation will become like this. It is a root of 2 by 2 pi, that is integration of 0 to pi Im square sin square omega t d omega t. So you replace the sin square omega t into this one, and 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2, and integrating this one, simplify, and we will get the value. So IRMS equal to Im by root 2. So again, next we will move on to the DC power output, it is PDC. So it is the product of EDC into IDC, or in terms of current means, so IDC square into RL. So substitute this IDC in terms of 2Im by pi, and also Im is equal to ESM by RF plus RL plus RS. So and finally we get the output PDC is equal to 4 into ESM square RL divided by pi square into RF plus RL plus RS whole square. So this is a 4 times, that is a greater than that in the half-wave rectifier circuit. Next we will move on to the AC power input. This is nothing but the IRMS squared into the resistor's value, all the resistor value. So what is the IRMS? Im by root 2, just to substitute. And again what is Im? ESM by RF plus RL in plus RS. Again substitute this and cancel these two values. So finally we simplify this, and finally we get the PAC is equal to ESM square by 2 into RF plus RL plus RS. Next we will move on to the efficiency of the rectifier. What is the efficiency? Is nothing but the ratio of DC power output to AC power input. So you know these two values, and they just substitute, find out the efficiency. So this means find out the efficiency, and also consider this one. So RF plus RS is far less than RL. So neglecting these two resistor value, and then efficiency will become like this: 8 into RL divided by pi square into RL. RL get cancelled. So simplify this, we obtain the value. So there is the efficiency is nothing but 8 by pi square. Suppose in terms of percentage means multiply by 100, which gives 81.2%. So this means the maximum 81.2% AC power gets converted to DC power in the load. So remaining almost 19% presented in terms of ripple in the output, which is pulse. There is a fluctuating component presented in the output. This value is double that of the half-wave rectifier circuit. Next we will move on to the ripple factor. So what is the ripple factor? Ripple factor is nothing but the ratio of the RMS value of AC component to average of DC component. So that ripple, that is whenever AC component is 0 means ripple is also 0. So that the IRMS equal to root of, so IAC square plus IDC square. So here IAC is equal to root of IRMS square minus IDC square. Now ripple factor is IAC by IDC. You substitute this IAC in terms of this one and simplify this one and substitute the value IRMS and IDC in terms of IM and then simplify this again, and finally we get the value of ripple factor is 0.48. So in terms of percentage, 48%. So whereas in the half wave rectifier it is 121%. So next we will move on to the load current. So what is the load current? Load current is the sum of ID1 plus ID2. So that ID1 is nothing but, so Im into 1 by pi plus 1 by 2 sin omega t minus 2 by 3 pi cos 2 omega t minus 2 by 15 cos 4 omega t and so on. So you replace this omega t into omega t plus 5. You obtain the value, so ID2. So and then you substitute the value and finally we obtain ID2 is nothing but Im into 1 by pi minus 1 by 2 sin omega t minus 2 by 3 pi cos 2 omega t minus 2 by 15 cos 4 omega t and so on. So just you find out the IL value. So then the Fourier transform of the load current is this one. Im into 2 by pi minus 4 by 3 pi cos 2 omega t minus 4 by 15 pi cos 4 omega t. Now the first term is represented as the average or DC value, while the remaining terms are ripple. So next we will move on to the peak inverse voltage. It is a peak voltage across the diode in reverse biased condition. Here the full wave rectifier having two diodes having the reverse biased condition, so that the PIV of the diode is 2 into ESM. This is called as PIV rating of the diode. So the diode must be selected based on this PIV rating and the circuit specifications. The PIV should be greater than or equal to 2 ESM. So next we will move on to the transformer utilization factor. What is the transformer utilization factor? Is nothing but the ratio of DC power delivered to the load to AC power rating of the transformer. So what is the DC power? IDC square into RL, and AC is IRMS into IRMS. So substitute this value and then neglect the RS and the RF value, and then ESM is equal to IM into RL. Substitute this instead of this ESM, RM into RL, and then simplify this. So which gives 8 by pi square, that is equal to 0.812. So next one is we are finding the transformer utilization for primary winding. So which is nothing but 2 times the transformer utilization factor of the half wave rectifier. So that you just substitute and find out the there is a transformer utilization factor for primary winding, and then you find the primary winding, the secondary winding transformer utilization factors, and finally find the average value of the transformer utilization factor full wave rectifier. So that just substitute the value and find out the average transformer utilization factor for full wave rectifier circuit is 0.693%. So what is this? This factor indicates that, which indicates that how much is the utilization of transformer in the circuit is called as transformer utilization factor. So this in the full wave rectifier, transformer get utilized more than the half wave rectifier circuit. Next we will move on to the voltage regulation. So what is the voltage regulation? Is nothing but VDC no load minus VDC full load divided by VDC full load. So VDC no load is nothing but it is a DC voltage on no load. That is 2 ESM by pi. So what is the VDC full load? That is DC voltage on full load. That is IDC into RL. So just substitute and then already IM is equal to ESM by RF plus RL plus RS. So you find out this into ESM and rearrange this equation. You find ESM and then already IDC is equal to 2 IM by pi. So just substitute this in terms of into this rectification, that is a regulation formula, and then we will get the final result of this regulation is RF by RL into 100. So the percentage regulation is equal to RF by RL into 100, neglecting the winding resistance. So here the secondary voltage should not change with respect to the load current. The voltage regulation is less means better the performance of the rectifier circuit. Let us now, next we are going to compare half-wave rectifier and a full-wave rectifier. So what is a half-wave rectifier? The half-wave rectifier is nothing but unidirectional nature. So that means makes use of only one half cycle of applied input. So what is a full-wave rectifier is nothing but the bidirectional nature, makes use of both half cycle of applied input. So half-wave rectifier requires only one diode, whereas full-wave rectifier requires two diodes. The ripple factor is less for full wave, that is, the rectification is more nearly complete for full wave as compared to half wave. The lowest ripple frequency in full wave circuit is twice that in the half wave circuit. The efficiency of rectification in a full wave connection is twice that for the half wave connection. The DC load current in case of full wave circuit is twice that to the half wave circuit. Similarly, the DC load voltage in full wave circuit is twice that in half wave circuit. Next one is the DC power output in case of full wave rectifier is 4 times greater than that in the half wave circuit. The transformer utilization in a full wave circuit is more when compared to half wave circuit. Next, finally, the PIV, that is the peak inverse voltages for a half wave rectifier is only for ESM, whereas in a full wave rectifier 2 times ESM. So next, let us move on to the problem. So the problem statement is a full wave rectifier is fed from a transformer having a center tapped secondary winding. The RMS voltage from either end of secondary to center tap is 30 volt. If the diode forward resistance is 2 ohm and that of the half secondary is 8 ohm, for a load of 1 kilo ohm, calculate power delivered to the load. Second one, percentage regulation at full load. C part is efficiency of rectification. And finally, D part is TEF of, it is a transformer utilization factor of secondary. The solution for this problem, so write the given data. So ES is equal to 30 volt, RF is equal to 2 ohm, RS is equal to 8 ohm, RL is equal to 1 kilo ohm. So we know that ES is equal to ERMS, that is equal to 30 volt. So and then this is also, you know that, so ESM is equal to root 2 into ES. So again, substitute this ES in, it is equal to 30 volt. So substitute this and find out the value. ESM is equal to 42.426 volts. Then now we can calculate IM. So this IM is nothing but ESM by RF plus RL plus RS. Substitute the value and find out the IM value is nothing but 42 milliampere. Next, IDC. That is IDC is nothing but 2 IM by pi. You know IM already. So just substitute and find out the IDC. So which will give this 26.74 milliampere. So next let us solve part A of the problem. So that power delivered to the load. So already we know that. So this power delivered to the load is nothing but IDC square into RL. So that you know this IDC is already calculated. Just to substitute and simplify this. Finally, we will obtain this one. It is a power delivered to the load is 0.715 watt. So this is the answer for part A problem. Part A. Okay. So next one is a part. That is, we will calculate the part B. There is a VDC no load. It's nothing but 2 ESM by pi. So that substitute that value ESM value and find out VDC no load. That is equal to 27 volt. So similarly, VDC full load, that is equal to IDCRL. So 26.74 milliampere into 1 kilo ohm. Just substitute and find out VDC full load. You know VDC no load and VDC full load. Just to find out the percentage regulation. Substitute the formula and find out the percentage regulation. So we will have 0.97 percentage. So this is the answer for B part. So next we need to calculate the efficiency. Generally, the efficiency in terms of percentage. So this is the efficiency is nothing but the ratio of DC power output to AC input power. So substitute the value and find out this. Find out the efficiency. So that you will have 0.802 in terms of percentage, 80.2 percentage. This is the answer for C part. Next, finally, the last part we will calculate there is a transformer utilization factor. So transformer secondary rating is nothing but ERMS into IRMS. So just to find out the transformer secondary rating, substitute the value and find out this one, 0.89 watt. So what is the transformer utilization factor is nothing but the ratio of DC power delivered to the load to AC power rating of the transformer. You know these two values, just substitute the value and find out the transformer utilization factor, that is equal to 0.802. Next one, the electronics device testing. So one of the electronics devices, transistor. So here you put the DMM in the diode checking mode and also check the status of the transistor, whether it is working or not. So keep the collector open. That means base is connected to the positive terminal of the DMM and there is a emitter is connected to the negative terminal of the DMM. Okay, emitter is connected to the negative terminal of the DMM. You can measure the display, you can measure the voltage. The voltage will be like this, 0.7 volts. That means the diode will be, the transistor is working. Okay, so now another condition, that is a reversal of the leads should result in OL indication to represent the reverse biased conditions. So okay, that means you connect base to negative terminal and emitter to positive terminal. That is a reverse biased condition. That means OL will be indicated. So next, similarly for, you can check the emitter with the open circuit, open, and for forward biased condition and also reverse biased condition. So for both for base to collector junction, you can check it out. Okay, the same voltage will be displayed in the DMO. That means that this type of transistor is working properly. Okay, suppose defective transistor means, so how it is find for both the biasing, the resistors will be high, the value will be high value. Okay, the voltage will be high, or otherwise OL will be indicated. Okay, that means the defective resistor, the defective transistor. Okay, so you got to check like this. Next, by using the ohm meter. So you can measure, you can check whether it is working condition or whether it is good condition or bad condition for the transistor by using the ohm meter also. So now you take the NPN transistor, the forward bias junction for the base to emitter, forward bias junction for the base to emitter. Here look at this diagram. You can connect like this for your transistor, base to positive terminal, emitter to negative terminal. So like this is as a forward biased condition. Forward biased condition means having the resistance value is so 100 to few kilo ohms. 100 to few kilo ohms. That is a low resistance value will be displayed in the DMO. So suppose if you reverse biased condition, that is a base to collector, this side, base to collector junction as shown in this figure. So the reading will be typically exceeds 100K. That means the transistor is a good condition. Suppose if you if you have a NPN transistor, the leads are reversed for each junction. So obviously a large or small resistance in both the directions. That means for either junction of an NPN or PNP transistor indicates a faulty device. So like this you got to finding out whether it is the transistor is a good condition or bad condition. So next one is similarly for you can check the MOSFET also. So first DMM, put the DMM in the diode mode, and next sort all the terminals with my finger for a while. Okay, can sort all the terminals by my finger for a while. Okay, so for a N MOSFET means, so connect source to negative terminal and drain to positive terminal of the DMM. The display will be like this. OL will be indicated. So that means the FET is in off state. That means the FET is in off state. Now turn on the MOSFET by connecting positive terminal with the gate for a while. So with respect to source, the gate terminal is act as a capacitor. It will hold the charge and the MOSFET remains on state. Now again connect positive terminal to drain and the display will be like this, 0.04 on the DMM. Now turn off the MOSFET again, then connect the gate and drain terminals with my finger for a while. Then we can measure the drain to source terminal. That will be look like this. OL will be indicated in a DMM. Then the MOSFET is a good condition. Suppose the bad MOSFET means, the bad condition of a MOSFET means, initially you got to measure this. That is a connect the source to negative and that is a whatever this negative and drain to positive terminal means the DMM will display some other value. It's not displayed this OL. That means the MOSFET is not properly working. That is a defective MOSFET. Okay. So you can identify like this. References. These are all the references I referred for preparing this video lecture. Thank you for watching this video.